Namaskar. Om. So we are discussing the 21st verse of the second chapter. That is Veda Vinashinam Nityam Yeyenam Ajamavyayam Katham Sa Purusha Partha Kham Khadayadi Handikam. So one who knows this Atma or Brahman as indestructible, eternal, how can he intend to kill or use somebody else to kill this soul? Because he knows that Atma or soul is indestructible. So that is elaborated by Shankaracharya in his Shankara Bhashya of this verse. Veda Vijanadi Avinashinam Andyabhava Vikara Rahidam Nityam Viparinama Rahidam Yo Veda Idi Sambandha. So we have seen the 6 modifications of the body by Yaska. And the last modification of the body is death. And by denying that, all the 6 modifications of the body, the soul has been denied. So one who knows that this soul is without destruction, the last modification of the body, that is destruction or death, is denied in the soul. So that is denied, and one who knows that that is an impossibility. Destruction of the soul is an impossibility. How he can use somebody or he can kill others. Enam purvena mandrena ukta lakshanam ajam janmarihidam avyayam apakshayarihidam katham kena prakarena savidwan purusha adigrado handi hanana kriyam karodi katham va khadayadi handaram prayojayadi. So we have seen in the last verse that this our soul is without birth, death or any kind of modifications. So when he knows the soul to be like that, how can he expect avyaya, any kind of decay with the soul? So how can he do the process of killing, or how can he entrust somebody to kill the soul? Because he knows that the soul is indestructible by all means. Na katanchit kanchit handi means that in whatever way or whatever means, but nobody can kill this soul. So even if they use whatever means they can, or by whomsoever they entrust, they cannot destroy the soul in any way. Na katanjit kaschit khadayadi. Even if they entrust it to somebody else or some other agency to kill the soul, it is not possible. It's an impossibility. Eva artha prasnartha sambhavat. So how can they execute an impossible thing? Destruction or killing of the soul is an impossibility. So even if they try by themselves or they entrust it to somebody else, that killing is not possible. Hettvadasya cha avikriyattvasya tulyatvat vidusha sarva karma pradishedeva prakaranartha abhipredo bhagavada handetu aksheba udaharanarthatvena katitaha. So here Shankara explains why Krishna takes the example of killing. Killing is just an example. What the intention of Shankara is to prove that any kind of actions or any kind of rituals or any kind of transformations or transactions is an impossibility with the soul. So, Shankara takes the example of killing. Krishna uses killing to deny all kinds of vikara or vikriya with the soul. No kind of actions or transformations or modifications is not possible with the soul. So, in order to establish that, killing is taken as an example. If killing is not possible with soul, other kinds of transactions, how can they be possible? That is the point. Vidushaha kam karma sambhave hedu vishesham pashyan karmani akshibadi bhagavan katham sa purushaidi. So, here Krishna wants to prove that actions or rituals or karma is an impossibility with the Vidusha. That is a man of wisdom. So, the question is, what is the reason which is shown by Krishna to say that the soul or the person of wisdom, a man of wisdom, cannot do any kind of transactions, any kind of actions? So, what is the reason by which Krishna is telling that actions are not possible for a man of wisdom? Nanu ukta eva atmana avikriyatvam sarvakarma sambhava karana visheshaha. So, the answer is, Shankara gives the answer. Avikriyatvam, that is, Atma, the soul is without any transformations or without any actions or rituals. Avikriyatvam, without any actions. That is the nature of the soul. So, how can there be any such actions or any such transformations which can be attributed to the soul or self? So, that's the reason why Krishna says that any kind of actions or killing or transformation is an impossibility with the soul. Satyam uktaha natu sa karana vishesha anyatvad vidusha avikriyat atmanah nahi avikriyam sthanam vididavada karma na sambhavati dijet. Now the opponent is coming with another argument. Okay, we agree with your point that the soul is without any modification or without any action. We accept that. But we are talking about the man of wisdom. By just knowing this self or the soul, how can he, the man of wisdom, how can you say that he is without any actions? And they are giving an example, the opponent is giving an example. We know that a pillar, a concrete pillar, is not moving and it is without any action. Somebody is knowing that concrete pillar. So, how can you attribute that by knowing a pillar, that man who is knowing that pillar is without any action? How can you say so? Is it not like that? By knowing the soul or knowing the Atma, you are saying that that man who knows the soul is without any action. The opponent is now accepting the fact that soul is or Atma is without any action or without any modification. Their question is, by knowing that soul, how can, even if he is a man of wisdom, how can he say that he is not having any actions? That's the question raised by the opponent. The answer is, na vidusha atmatvat. So the answer is, your question is at fault. The reason is, vidushaha atmatvat. a man of wisdom is equal to soul or Atma. There is no difference between the man of wisdom and the soul. Your fault was that you were differentiating soul and the man of wisdom as two things. So we answer that there is no difference between the man of wisdom and the soul. Na vidusha atmatvat, na dehadi sangadasya vidvatta, atah parisheshyat asamhada atma vidwan avikriyedi. The point is that the complex of body, mind, ego complex, that is what you are saying, you are taking as vidusha or the man of wisdom. We say that the complex of body, mind, intelligence is an inner thing, jada, and that does not have any property of the soul. So we cannot consider the man of wisdom as equivalent to the body mind complex. You are misinterpreting the body mind complex as vidusha or the man of wisdom. It is not, because it is not having any capacity to perceive or know. Hence it is different from soul. Hence you cannot equate the body mind soul complex with the soul. Tasya vidushaha karma sambhavat akshebo yukta katham sapurusha idi. So hence Krishna is equating the man of wisdom with the soul. That's why he says katham sapurusha. How can he, a man who is knowing the self, how can he kill anybody or use somebody to kill? That's not possible, because he is knowing the man of wisdom as equal to the soul or self. Yadha buddhyadya hridasya shabdardasya avikriya eva san buddhivritti avivega vijnanena avidya upalabdha atma kalpyade. When people are having the ignorance, they don't have the capacity to differentiate the soul from the body-mind complex. That is lack of discrimination. Because of their ignorance and because of their lack of discrimination, they are not discriminating between the soul and the body-mind complex. That's why they are attributing this body-mind complex as the self or the soul. Evam eva atmanatma vivega jnanena buddhivritya vidya asatya rupaya eva paramarthada avikriya eva atma vidvanuchyade. So when they know that, when they get rid of their ignorance, and when they know the truth, that the self, the soul, is not having any relation with this body-mind complex, they know that this soul or self is avikriya, is without any kind of actions, without any kind of transformations, without any kind of modifications. Vidushaha karma sambhava vajanat yani karmani shastrena vidhiyande tani avidusho vihitani idi bhagavato nischaya avagamyade. Then the question is, all kinds of actions are impossible for a man of wisdom. So all the actions prescribed by the scriptures or shastra, they are for the ignorant only. So the prescription of Krishna will come like that. All actions, all kinds of prescriptions, all kinds of actions or rituals prescribed by the shastras or the scriptures are for the ignorant man only and not for the man of wisdom. we'll see the description next day.